The hidden cost of self-abandonment and how to break the cycle. Hi, my name is Martin, and I'm here to share with you openly, authentically, and unfiltered my stories, my life lessons, and the learnings that I've gained throughout my whole life experience. And in this video, what I'm going to talk to you about is self-abandonment and really the costs of self-abandonment. And one of the reasons why I'm sharing this with you is because over the past few weeks and months, I've been really diving deep into a self-healing journey. And there's a lot of things that came up through that process and a lot of insights, a lot of like breakthroughs and aha moments where I've been in this self-development process for a while now, like as a coach, but also before I trained as a coach and became a coach, I dive deep into the whole self-development kind of environment. And still, there's so many things that I uncover and discover about me throughout like the whole months and years in the past. And what I came to realize is it's a lifelong journey. There's always things that we're gonna discover about ourselves, new things that we didn't know in the past, and it's a lifelong process. And I think, or I know I got to a point where I'm starting to embrace that kind of knowledge and the awareness that it's never going to be done. So that takes a lot of pressure off of me. So if you're going through a difficult situation right now, then I want to also encourage you to not give up, to stay in tune with yourself. And if you're not in tune with yourself, that you are actually implementing certain things that you can get back to yourself, find back to yourself, and live a life that is full of adventure, excitement, ups and downs. And yes, there are going to be ups and there are going to be downs because that is the cycle of life. It's like a heartbeat. It goes up, it goes down. A flat line means death. So when it comes to our lives, if we don't have those ups and we don't have the downs, and we just have like that flat line, that is like spiritual, mental, and emotional death. And even though it might be painful what you're going through, but that means you are alive. That means that you are living and experiencing life to its fullest. And the topic today is really about self-abandonment because that's one of the things that I've realized in the last month that it's such a huge and like something that a lot of people are dealing with, and a lot of people are not even aware of it. And we cannot change anything if we are not aware of something. So the first step of change is awareness, creating conscious awareness of internal programs, of patterns, of habits. And self-abandonment is also a habit. So today was a very, very interesting day for me. I was, even though I had a day off pretty much, I had a few conversations and also I did a coaching where I was being coached, and there was like a huge aha moment for me. And that is, we talked about like the drama triangle, and somehow that's been coming up a lot in the last couple of weeks as well during my coaching. And the drama triangle is like you have the perpetrator, you have the victim, and you have the rescuer. And what I realized today is that I am actually all three of them. In different situations, in different parts of my life, I'm one or the other. But the drama triangle is something that is a pattern for me. And I've seen that with so many other people that I've been working lately, that they, especially the victim part, that came out a lot for a lot of people that I worked with. And when I looked at that today, because as I mentioned in my other videos, I'm processing a breakup right now. And even though it's like a really difficult situation for me, but it's also an opportunity for me that I realized where I can finally let go of a lot of baggage from the past, a lot of things that I've taken or have been taken with me that are not serving me anymore, that are preventing me actually from living the life that I want to live. And that is like really the hidden cost of self-abandonment, because I've been self-abandoning myself in romantic relationships. And the cost of that was that I was not able to really live the life that I wanted, that I always dreamed of, the relationship that I truly desire deep down in my heart and my soul, because I abandoned my dreams. I abandoned myself for the sake of rescuing other people. Yeah, that was a big aha moment for me today. And the way it showed up in the past, and the reason is like it's not just the rescuer that showed up in romantic relationships, but all three. So usually what happens, and that happened like from early on in my youth until today. Pretty much every person I dated, every person I was interested in, even if they were not interested in me, um, but pretty much every one of them or most of them that showed up. And that was that they had like a difficulty growing up. They had some kind of like they were not never shown real love. And me coming along, what I desired was to rescue them, to show them what love means, to show them that they have worth, that there is someone they who likes them, who appreciates them for who they are, that they don't have to change who they are for other people so that they like them or love them. But it never worked, because the reason why it didn't work, often they appreciated it. They were like, oh my God, like there's actually someone who treats me well. But what I did every single time is I abandoned myself. I didn't look at the red flags. I didn't look at, or I forgot what things I need to do for myself. A lot of times I stopped like with Kung Fu training or with a healthy self, like a routine, meditation. A lot of things that were important to me, I stopped. I didn't make the time for it because I was so focused on the other person. First to heal them or to fix them in a way, and then to fix the relationship because I lost myself, which of course then made it like the relationship therefore changed because I didn't show up as the person I wanted. So I felt a lot of fear of abandonment. Like, what if they start not liking me anymore? What if, like, so many what ifs came up. And what then happened is the dynamic changed. And because I had a lot of fear, that was, of course, felt by the other person. They started withdrawing because it was like too much. So in my world, they became like the perpetrator. And instead of me being the rescuer, I became the victim. I was like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Nobody likes me for who I am. Once I help them, they leave me. And then what happens is that or pretty much every time it was ended by the other person. And then I was looking for a new partner to be the rescuer. And then when the partner didn't show up, I was my own rescuer. And I was like, okay, let's go on this healing journey. Let's figure this out. But at the same time, I was my own perpetrator because the way I talked to myself was not healthy. I talked down on myself. I always told myself what I did was wrong. If only I had been different. If I only were better or more worthy or what more lovable or whatever. Like there's million things that came into my mind of what I should have done different and that it's my fault. So I was like blaming me, I was criticizing me, I was down talking or talking down on me, down talking, I'm not sure if that's a word. Anyways, but I became like from the rescuer, I became the victim, and from the victim, I became the perpetrator, and then from the perpetrator again to the victim, and then the rescuer of myself. And of course, that's a little bit overwhelming, and it's like too much for one person to handle. And today I had like that coaching, and someone else was being coached, like a group coaching that I'm participating in, and I was like, oh my God, this is happening. I had a dynamic kind of um, that like in my family kind of circle where the the person was not didn't have a lot of love growing up, and I feel like seeing that, having realized that within me, I'm like, if I see someone else who had that experience of not being loved when they were a child, I want to show them love when they're grown up. So basically, the dynamic is because of something that I internalized by growing up, because I grew up in a very loving family. My parents are amazing people. Like it's I wouldn't change them for anyone in the world. Yet there's a lot of things that every each and every one of us we experienced as a child that affects us when we are grown up. Might be getting lost at the supermarket or someone scaring you, whatever. It as a child, so many things can happen through little moments where nobody ever like they don't remember it, but it still had an impact. And with this, I didn't even know until today. I was like, wow, this is something that I feel like is the reason why I've been behaving in a certain way. So once, like I said earlier on, change is only possible if we become consciously aware of what we're doing, of our habits, of our patterns, of all those subconscious things that are going on. Not all of them. You don't have to know. You just basically have to have a kind of an understanding what's happening, and then you can change. Like you don't have to know the details of your childhood, like things that you might not remember. So that would be too much. Like you don't have to consciously know where it's coming from. You just have to be consciously aware of what is going on and what's actually happening. The bonuses of knowing where it's coming from, that's additional information, but it's not required. So if you don't remember, do not worry, it's still okay. So now that I know where this is coming from, like the self-abandonment, it's not a new information, but the way of like the victim, the perpetrator, the rescuer, how that dynamic shows up in romantic relationships for me, that is pretty much new to me. And it's the same process with self-abandonment, because being the victim, being the perpetrator or the rescuer, it's a form of self-abandonment, because you are abandoning the true essence that you are, the true person and the true being that you are, for a role, whatever role that is, one of those three. But it's like you're abandoning the person and the version of yourself that you actually are deep down. So basically, it's a very simple thing that you need to do. You just need to step out of that role. You have to make the conscious choice and decision of saying, stop. I am not going to continue playing a role that is not serving me. And why is it not serving you? Yes, it's serving you because, let's say, like with the victim, if I'm in the victim role, then I can make other people responsible for how I feel and what I experience in life. It's a great thing because then I don't have to take responsibility. I can always say, well, everything that's happening is because of other people, of the circumstances around me, or whatever it is. The difficult part is to step into your own responsibility, to say, okay, from now on, I'm taking responsibility of my life, of my emotions, of my thoughts, of my habits, of everything around me. Like, that is my responsibility, because the outside changes when you change on the inside. So it's a very, very simple thing to just make that choice and saying, stop, I'm not going to play that role anymore. From now on, I'm going to take responsibility for myself. I'm not gonna, if you're in the rescuer kind of role, then you need to stop taking responsibility or taking on the responsibility that is the responsibility of other people, because you are kind of disabling people or enabling people when you are rescuing them. You kind of give them that subconscious information that they cannot do it themselves, that they are helpless, that they need you. But instead, if you get out of the rescuer role and tune into yourself, taking responsibility for yourself first, then you can still be there for other people. Like I do as a coach, I'm not there to rescue people. I'm there to support them, to encourage them, to look at like their beliefs, at their values, at their dreams, goals, to figure out together how can we shift so that they can actually lead a self-led and purposeful life on their own terms. But I'm there to support, not to rescue. So the same in other areas of life. If you know that you are one of those three roles, the victim, perpetrator, or rescuer, then you need to step out of that. Take your own responsibility for your own life, for your own choices, your actions, your thoughts, your emotions, and things around you will change. So that's the, well, not so secret cost anymore of self-abandonment. To recap, the cost of self-abandonment is really that you are giving up on your dreams, you are giving up on yourself, you are, by abandoning yourself, like for me, when I abandon myself in a relationship for the other person, what I am, because I want that relationship, I want to experience that loving and beautiful relationship, but because I abandon myself, I cannot be fully the person and the version of a partner that I want to be in a relationship. So the relationship that I desire can never happen as long as I abandon myself. And that is the biggest cost there is, because in the process of us trying to make something happen and therefore abandoning ourselves with the hope that this is the path towards getting what we want, we're actually going further and further away from what we actually and truly want. So instead of self-abandonment, look into self-awareness, self-love, appreciating yourself, and taking responsibility for your own life. And of course, most importantly, for you. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. My light is blinking, it's empty, so this video is going to end here as well now. So thank you for tuning in. Please leave a like and a comment, share below what your takeaway is from this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. All right, lots of love and a big hug.